My name is Diego, and I was there when Julia's story changed forever. It was a sunny afternoon on May 14th, the kind of day that beckons the world outside, and Julia stood in the park, her heart heavy with the memories of her life with her ex-husband. She smiled softly at the thought of the laughter they once shared, unaware that just moments later, everything would unravel. The scent of fresh grass filled the air, mingling with the sweet notes of birds chirping above, creating a backdrop of serene beauty that contrasted sharply with the turmoil brewing within her. Hope flickered in her eyes, but beneath that fragile facade, she trembled, caught between the promise of a new beginning and the shadows of her past. How can blood turn to poison like this? What nobody knew was that hidden beneath the surface, a storm was brewing, and Julia was about to confront the darkest secrets of her past. Just days before, preserve the original language of her kicked house after an explosive argument, feeling the weight of her decision to finally sever ties. But that day in the park, with the sun warming her skin and the air thick with possibility, she had no idea that the real battle was only just beginning. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee wafted through the living room, mingling with the faint sounds of distant traffic from the street outside. Julia stood by the stove, carefully stirring a pot of simmering sauce, her mind drifting back to the days when Mark would join her in the kitchen, sharing their love for cooking. He would hum softly, his charm lighting up the room, always just a step ahead of her in the dance of culinary creation. "Oh my God, I can't believe how much I miss those mornings," she whispered to herself, the warmth of the stove contrasting sharply with the chill of loss that lingered in her heart. As she plated the pasta, her son, Lisa, wandered in. His expression clouded with a mixture of teenage indifference and curiosity. "What's for dinner?" he asked, eyes darting toward the table, searching for the familiar comfort of home-cooked meals. The sight of the vibrant dish brought a flicker of hope to Julia's heart, a reminder of the family moments they used to share. "Your favorite, sweetheart. I made it just like your dad used to," Julia replied, forcing a smile as she set the table. The nostalgia hit her like a wave, a bittersweet reminder of what had been lost. She couldn't shake the feeling of being overshadowed in her own home, a feeling that had crept in slowly over the years, like the creeping vines outside their window. "Remember how he would always add a pinch of this and that to make it perfect?" she continued, trying to pull Lisa into the warmth of memory. "Yeah, I guess," Lisa muttered, not fully engaged, his mind likely elsewhere, perhaps on Friends or the latest video game. It hurt. Her heart sank at the thought that her son was drifting away, unaware of the legacy his father had left behind. The room felt heavy with unspoken words, with memories lingering like shadows. After dinner, Julia decided to venture into the attic, a place that had become a repository for her family's past. Dust motes danced in the dim light as she climbed the creaky stairs, each step echoing with a mix of trepidation and anticipation. The smell of aged paper and forgotten treasures filled the air as she rifled through boxes, searching for something, anything, that would pull her back to those happier times. Then she found it, an old photo album, its cover worn and edges frayed. Flipping it open, her heart raced as she was met with images of laughter and joy. There was Mark, grinning widely as he tossed Lisa into the air, and another of their family gathered around the table, sharing stories and dreams. Each picture was a window to a moment frozen in time. And with every turn of the page, Julia felt a wave of longing wash over her. "Look at us, Lisa," Julia called out, her voice a mixture of joy and sorrow. "We were so happy." Lisa wandered in, glancing over her shoulder. "Yeah, I guess. But that was before," he said, his tone dismissive, a stark contrast to the memories that filled the room. Julia's heart tightened. Did he really not see the beauty in their past? The laughter, the love? "Before what?" she pressed, trying to catch his eye. "Before everything changed, Mom. You know that." He shrugged, a gesture that felt dismissive, and the weight of his words hung heavy in the air. "Everything changes, yes, but that doesn't mean we have to forget," Julia replied, her voice soft but firm. "Your father loved us. He built this life for us. This house, this home, is ours." "Is it though?" Lisa shot back, a hint of defiance creeping into his voice. "Dad always said you didn't really own it." In that moment, a cold realization crept in, chilling her to the bone. Julia blinked, the room suddenly feeling too small. "What do you mean?" "I don't know, just what Dad said. He handled the money and stuff. I thought you just lived here." Lisa shrugged again, his words cutting deeper than she could have imagined. Thought, the smell of fresh coffee brought painful memories. Julia's heart raced, her thoughts swirling. Mark had always kept their finances close to his chest, dismissing her contributions as mere support. Had he painted her as just the caretaker of their home, while he held all the power? She had never questioned it, caught in the cycle of his charm and control. But now, faced with her son's ignorance, doubt gnawed at her insides. "Lisa, I need you to understand something," Julia said, her voice trembling slightly. "This house is as much yours as it is mine. Your father may have thought he controlled everything, but he didn't. I was the one who kept this family together." Just then, Tom, her best friend, walked in unannounced, his face lighting up at the sight of the photo album. "What's this, a trip down memory lane?" he asked, breaking the tension. "More like a reality check," Julia replied, her eyes still on Lisa. "Hey, don't let him get to you," Tom said, sensing the weight in the air. "You've done so much for this family, Julia. You're stronger than you think." Julia sighed, glancing at the album one last time. She would need to confront the truth, not just for herself, but for Lisa too. This was her home, her life, and it was time to reclaim it. The shadows of doubt began to lift, replaced by a flicker of determination. Perhaps this was the beginning of something new, something that could restore hope. Julia gazed out the window. "What a beautiful day," she whispered. Mark noticed her distant look. "You seem lost in thought." The aroma of fresh coffee wafted through the kitchen, a comforting scent that usually signaled a peaceful morning. Julia poured herself a cup, trying to steady her nerves for the day ahead. But just as she took a sip, her phone buzzed violently on the counter, shattering her moment of tranquility. It was the family lawyer. "Julia, I need to speak with you about the house," he said, his tone grave. "It's in Mark's name, and we'll need to address it at the will reading next week." Her heart sank. "Oh my God, I can't believe this. I thought everything was in order." She had always assumed that their home, the one she had nurtured with warmth and love, was a shared asset. But now, reality crashed down around her like a tidal wave. "Mark had intended for everything to go smoothly, but we need to clarify the estate," the lawyer continued, oblivious to her turmoil. As she hung up, a sense of betrayal wrapped around her, tightening its grip. She had spent years building a life in that house, pouring herself into every meal and every family gathering. Yet, here she was, a stranger in her own home, grasping at threads of ownership that seemed to be slipping away. Just then, Lisa burst into the kitchen, his face flushed with frustration. "Mom, this is taking forever. Why can't we just sell the house and get a modern apartment? We need to move on." Julia's stomach twisted at his words. "Lisa, we can't just sell it. This house is part of our family. It holds memories." "Memories don't pay the bills," he shot back, his voice sharp. "It's time for a fresh start. You're just holding on to something that's gone." Her chest tightened as she glanced out the window into the backyard, where the grass shimmered with morning dew. It hurt like betrayal, watching the place where they had hosted barbecues and birthday parties. "I need you to trust me, Lisa," Julia said, her voice steady but laced with urgency. "There's more to this than you know." With a sigh, Lisa turned away, not realizing how much his words mirrored Mark's dismissive attitude toward her. It was as if the shadow of her husband had taken root in their son, and she felt the sting of his disapproval. After Lisa stormed off, Julia wandered into the living room, her heart heavy with doubt.
That's when she noticed an envelope peeking out from under the coffee table, half hidden by a stack of magazines. She picked it up, her fingers trembling as she recognized Mark's handwriting. Inside was a letter addressed to her. "Julia," it began, "if you're reading this, it means I'm no longer here, and I can't tell you how much I regret not being more transparent. This house is not just a structure, it's our home. I want you to know that you have the final say in what happens to it." Tears blurred her vision as she read his words. He had wanted her to have control, to feel secure in her place within their family. This was a side of Mark she had rarely seen, one that acknowledged her strength and her value.
But as she tucked the letter away, she felt the weight of the secret settle on her shoulders. Should she reveal it to Lisa? Would it change his perception of her? Just then, Tom knocked on the door, his presence a welcome relief. "Hey, Jules, you look like you've seen a ghost. What's going on?" Julia took a deep breath, trying to mask her turmoil. "It's about the house and the will reading. Lisa wants to sell it, and I feel like I'm losing everything." Tom frowned, leaning against the doorframe. "You can't let him dictate what happens. It's your home too. You've poured your heart into it." "Mark wanted me to have a say," she confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. "But I'm afraid of what it'll do to our family if I reveal the truth." "Julia, you have to stand up for yourself. Don't let them push you around. You're stronger than you think," Tom encouraged, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. In that moment, Julia felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps she didn't have to face this alone. Maybe she could reclaim her voice, and with it, her rightful place in the family. As she gazed out into the backyard, the distant sound of traffic faded, replaced by the memories of laughter and love that filled the air. That moment in the backyard changed everything. She had the power to shape her family's future, just as she had shaped their home. With renewed determination, Julia whispered to herself, "I won't let them take this away from me." She felt a surge of strength as she tucked the letter deeper into her pocket, ready to face whatever came next. Julia took a deep breath. "We need to have a serious conversation." Mark tensed up. About what exactly? Julia stood in the backyard, the scent of fresh grass mingling with the sweetness of pancakes wafting from the kitchen. The distant hum of traffic barely penetrated her thoughts as she prepared to confront Lisa. Her heart was heavy, a weight she could no longer carry in silence. The betrayal stung more than she anticipated, and she felt a mix of determination and dread as she rehearsed what she needed to say. "Lisa," she called out, her voice trembling slightly as he emerged from the house. He looked at her, an expression of confusion on his face, which only deepened her resolve. "We need to talk about what's happening with the house." "What's there to talk about?" Lisa replied, his tone dismissive. "Dad's name is on it, Mom. You know that." "Oh my God, I can't believe you'd say that," Julia exclaimed, her emotions bubbling over. "This is our home, and I deserve to have a say in what happens to it." Lisa crossed his arms, an all-too-familiar gesture that mirrored Mark's dismissiveness. "Mom, you're being dramatic. You don't understand the plans I have. I want to renovate and make it better. Just trust me." "Trust you?" Julia felt her heart sink as she stepped closer to him. "You're taking his side without even knowing the truth." "Mark may have been the one to sign the papers, but this house is mine. It was left to me," Lisa scoffed, shaking his head as if her words were nonsense. "You're just upset and looking for a way to stay in control. Dad would want me to take charge of this." Julia's pulse quickened as she recalled her late husband's sister, Sarah, who had always understood the dynamics of their family. "I need to call Sarah," she murmured to herself, but Lisa caught the name. "Why would you call her?" he asked, narrowing his eyes. "She's not going to help you." "Actually, she might just be the one to give me the support I need," Julia said, her resolve hardening. "She warned me about how manipulative you could be, just like Mark." The tension was palpable, and Julia felt the sting of betrayal in her chest like a physical ache. Cultural reflection: in the backyard, it hurt like heartbreak. Stop making this into a bigger deal than it is, Lisa replied, his voice rising. You just want to hold on to what little power you think you have left. I'm not trying to hold on to power, Lisa. I'm trying to protect our family legacy, she shot back, the tears threatening to spill over. I spent years supporting your father, keeping this family together. Don't you dare dismiss my contributions. Lisa's face softened for a moment, and Julia caught a glimpse of the boy she raised, the one who used to look up to her. But it's different now, he said, his tone faltering. You're just not seeing it clearly. No, you're the one who isn't seeing clearly, Julia snapped, taking a step back. Mark might have had the charm, but I was the one who made this place a home. I poured my heart into every meal, every family gathering. You think renovations are what make a house? They're not. It's the love and the memories. Her voice was shaking, and for a moment she feared she might lose him entirely. But then she heard a voice behind her. Julia, you're right, Tom said, stepping into the backyard with an encouraging smile. You deserve to be heard in this. I've been talking to Sarah, and she's ready to back you up. Julia's heart swelled with gratitude as she turned to him. You spoke to Sarah? She asked, surprised. Yeah, she's worried about Lisa's plans too. She told me everything, Tom replied. You need to stand your ground, Julia. This isn't just about the house, it's about your voice. Lisa's expression shifted from confusion to defiance, and Julia saw the fire of entitlement flicker in his eyes. You're both crazy. I don't need anyone's help to make this happen. Maybe you don't need help, but you need to understand what you're trying to take from your mother, Tom shot back, his tone firm. This isn't just business, it's family. As the three of them stood there, the weight of the conversation settled in the air, thick and heavy. Julia felt a flicker of hope ignite within her, but she knew the road ahead would be fraught with challenges. Do you really want to go down this path? She asked Lisa, her voice steadier now. Do you want to build a future on the ashes of your family? Lisa looked away, his bravado wavering. I just wanted to make it better. But at what cost? Julia pressed. You're willing to push me out? To erase our shared memories for the sake of a renovation? That's not what your dad would have wanted. In that moment, she saw a glimpse of realization in his eyes, a flicker of doubt that made her heart race. I just thought it would be easier, he stammered. Julia took a deep breath, the smell of fresh grass grounding her. Life isn't easy, Lisa, but we can't let resentment and anger dictate our choices. We're family, and we need to honor that. The silence that followed was thick with unspoken words, but Julia felt a shift in the air. Perhaps, just perhaps, they could find a way to navigate this together. The road ahead was uncertain, but she was ready to fight for what was rightfully hers, for their family legacy, and for the love that had built their home. I can't believe you did this, Julia exclaimed. Mark tried to explain, but words failed him. The air was thick with the scent of fresh grass, a hint of summer lingering as Julia stepped onto the porch, the familiar creak of the wooden boards beneath her feet grounding her. She could hear the distant traffic hum, a reminder of the world moving on, while her own life felt suspended in disbelief. The will reading had been a whirlwind of emotions, and now, standing outside in the fading afternoon light, the weight of everything was starting to settle heavily on her shoulders. Oh my God, I can't believe this, Julia whispered, her heart racing as the shock from the meeting coursed through her. She had thought the worst was over when Mark had passed away, but this felt like a new beginning, a beginning fraught with unexpected complications. The house was hers outright, a revelation that sent her mind spinning. Yet, the realization that Lisa believed he would inherit it gnawed at her, filling her with a sense of dread. Just then, she heard Tom's voice calling from the driveway. Hey, Jules, you okay? You look like you've seen a ghost. Julia turned, forcing a smile despite the turmoil inside her. I just got some news about the house, she replied, motioning for him to come closer. I don't even know where to start.
Tom walked up the steps, his brow furrowed with concern. "What do you mean? I thought everything was in Mark's name." "It was, sort of, but during the reading, I found out he actually left the house to me. Lisa thinks it's his, and Mark never clarified it. I don't know how to break it to him," Julia confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. Tom leaned against the porch railing, his expression shifting to one of determination. "You need to talk to him, Julia. It's your home."
You deserve to reclaim it. With each word, a flicker of hope ignited within her, but it was quickly shadowed by the thought of Lisa's face when she learned the truth. What if he refuses to accept it? What if he thinks I'm just trying to take something away from him? Then you set the record straight, Tom encouraged. He needs to understand that this is your right. Don't let fear hold you back. Julia took a deep breath, the smell of the BBQ from a neighbor's yard wafting through the air, mingling with her anxiety. She could almost hear the laughter of families enjoying their evenings, a stark contrast to the storm brewing within her. This was not just about a house, it was about her identity, her voice, something Mark had often overshadowed. A moment of silence settled between them, the soft rustling of leaves providing an unexpected comfort. Cultural reflection. In the porch, it hurt like hope. Tom's steady presence reminded her of the strength she had almost forgotten she possessed. "I need to confront the lawyer," she said suddenly, her resolve hardening. "If Lisa was misinformed, I need to understand what happened. I can't let this misunderstanding ruin our relationship." "That's the spirit," Tom replied, nodding approvingly. "You've got this. I'll be here for you no matter how it goes down." As she turned to walk back inside, Julia felt a rush of empowerment coursing through her veins. She wouldn't back down, not this time. The house had been her sanctuary, a place where her family had thrived, and it was time to reclaim it. The next day, Julia found herself sitting in the lawyer's office, the sterile environment starkly contrasting the warmth of her home. She glanced around, her hands fidgeting in her lap as she waited for him to arrive. The distant sound of traffic was like a reminder of the life outside, moving on without her. When the lawyer entered, he looked professional, yet approachable, a slight smile playing on his lips. "Julia, good to see you again. How can I assist you today?" "Thank you for meeting with me," she began, her voice steady despite the turmoil inside her. "I need to clarify what happened during the will reading. Lisa believes he was meant to inherit the house, but I was told Mark left it to me." The lawyer's expression shifted to one of concern. "I understand your confusion. There was a misunderstanding regarding Mark's intentions. He specifically stated in his will that the house was to be transferred to you outright. However, it seems Lisa was misinformed about his wishes." Julia's heart sank at the implication of her son's distress. "So he thinks he's losing something that was never his to begin with?" "Unfortunately, yes," the lawyer confirmed, his gaze sympathetic. "You'll need to have a conversation with him to clear this up." "Thank you," Julia said, a sense of clarity washing over her. "I'll talk to him. I can't let this misunderstanding tear us apart." With a newfound sense of purpose, Julia left the office, the fresh grass smell greeting her as she stepped outside. Reflection. That moment at the lawyer's office changed everything. She was ready to confront Lisa, ready to assert her rightful ownership of their family home. As she walked back to her car, her thoughts were a whirlwind of emotions: fear, hope, and determination. She could feel the wind brushing against her, carrying away her doubts. This was her time to reclaim her voice, her space, and her place in her family's life, and she was prepared to fight for it. "I can't believe this," Julia whispered in disbelief. "I can explain everything," Mark said desperately. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a golden hue across the porch where Julia sat, her heart heavy with uncertainty. The fresh smell of cut grass wafted through the air, mingling with the sweet scent of apple pie cooling on the kitchen counter. She took a deep breath, trying to ground herself, knowing that today was pivotal. She had invited Lisa over to discuss the house, and she was determined to stand her ground. With her hands trembling slightly, Julia pulled out the scrapbook she had been working on. It was filled with pictures and stories of Mark's life, his childhood, their wedding, the moments that shaped their family. Each page was a testament to his legacy, and she hoped it would help Lisa see beyond the bitterness that had clouded their relationship since Mark's passing. Julia wanted to show him the man his father truly was, not the shadow that had loomed over her. "Okay, you can do this," she whispered to herself, rehearsing her speech for what felt like the 100th time. The birds chirped merrily in the background, a stark contrast to the weight of her emotions. She could almost hear Mark's voice, encouraging her to be strong. "You've always been the heart of this family, Julia," she imagined him saying, and for a fleeting moment, she felt a flicker of hope. Just then, the sound of gravel crunching underfoot broke her reverie. Julia looked up to see Lisa walking toward her, an expression of uncertainty etched on his face. The sight of her son sent a pang of worry through her. He was still so young, so impressionable, and Julia feared the influence of Mark's controlling nature would overshadow her own voice. "Hey, Mom," Lisa said, his tone flat as he stepped onto the porch. "What's this about?" He crossed his arms, a defensive posture she recognized all too well. "Thank you for coming," Julia began, trying to keep her voice steady. "I wanted to talk about the house. We need to figure out what happens next." She could feel her pulse quicken. "I know you and I haven't seen eye to eye lately, but I want you to understand that this home means more to me than just a roof over our heads." Lisa's brow furrowed, the tension palpable. "But it's Dad's house, Mom. It's not yours anymore." The words cut deeper than she expected. Her heart sank as she fought the urge to shout. "You don't understand, Lisa. It's not just about ownership. It's about our family, our memories." "I get that, but it was Dad's legacy. He wanted me to take care of it," Lisa replied, frustration creeping into his voice. "You're just trying to push me out." Julia took a moment, reflecting on his words. The anger she felt was laced with sadness. "Oh my God, Lisa, do you really think that? I'm not trying to take anything away from you. I just want us to honor your father's memory together, as a family." A silence settled between them, the air thick with unspoken words. Julia glanced at the scrapbook, the pages filled with moments that defined them. "Look, I've been working on this. I want to share it with you. Your father had dreams for us, dreams that went beyond just this house." She opened the scrapbook, revealing a photo of Mark holding a young Lisa, both of them laughing. Lisa leaned closer, curiosity momentarily replacing his resistance. "I can't believe you've been doing this," he murmured, his eyes scanning the pages. "Why didn't you ever show me before?" "Because I thought you needed to process your grief first," Julia replied softly. "But I realize now that we need to face this together. I want you to see your father as he was, not just as a figure who left us." For a moment, Lisa's guard seemed to drop. "I just don't know what to do, Mom," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. "I feel so lost without him." "That makes two of us," Julia said, her heart aching for her son. "But we can find a way through this if we work together. I want you to understand that you're not alone in this. We can carry on his legacy, together." Just then, a cool breeze swept across the porch, stirring the pages of the scrapbook. Julia paused, the moment feeling almost sacred, as if the universe was urging them to reconcile. She looked into Lisa's eyes, searching for a sign of understanding. "Mom," Lisa said finally, his voice steadier now. "I didn't know you felt this way. I'm sorry for how I reacted." Julia smiled, relief flooding through her. "It's okay. We're both hurting. But we have each other. Let's talk about what we want for this house, for our future." As they continued to discuss their plans, Julia felt a shift in the atmosphere. The weight of uncertainty began to lift, replaced by a shared vision for what lay ahead. Cultural reflection. In that moment on the porch, hope blossomed.
But just as things seemed to settle, a thought flickered in the back of Julia's mind. What if Lisa had been manipulated all along? What if Mark's shadow loomed larger than she realized? A chill ran down her spine as she considered the possibility. Thought. The smell of fresh grass felt like a new beginning, but the past still haunted her. The conversation turned toward the future, yet doubts lingered. Julia knew she had more to uncover. But for now, she held on to the hope of unity. They had taken the first step. "Let's do this together," Julia said, her voice strong. "For your father, for us." Lisa nodded, and for the first time in a long while, Julia felt a flicker of warmth in her heart. They would face the future together. Julia clenched her fists. "I don't want to hear any more excuses." Mark hung his head. "I'm truly sorry." Julia sat on the edge of the worn leather couch in the living room, the distant sound of traffic filtering in from the street outside. The smell of rain on the pavement had a way of making her heart feel heavy, yet alive with memories. She clutched the scrapbook tightly, her fingers tracing the edges of the pages filled with photographs that told a story of love, laughter, and life built together. Today would be different. She could feel it in her bones. Lisa burst through the door, his face flushed with frustration. "Mom, this is ridiculous. You can't just expect me to agree with you about the house. It's Dad's." Julia took a deep breath, steadying herself. "Lisa, you don't understand. This home isn't just Mark's. It's mine too. I've put my heart and soul into this place." Lisa's eyes narrowed, disbelief etched across his features. "Oh my God, how can you say that? You're just trying to undermine my future. I can't believe you're doing this." The air between them crackled with tension. Julia's heart sank, but she knew she had to stand firm. "You have to listen to me. This house has memories, our memories. It's where we celebrated birthdays, where you took your first steps. I want you to understand how much it means to me." "But it's not yours to decide. Dad left it to me," he shouted back, his voice rising with anger. Julia's voice wavered, but she pressed on. "That's not true. You don't know the whole story. The house is legally mine. Mark and I had everything in my name to protect us. You didn't even know." Lisa recoiled, the realization hitting him like a slap. "What do you mean? Why didn't you tell me? You've always kept everything under wraps." The weight of the moment hung in the air, thick as the scent of rain-soaked earth. Julia could see the conflict in her son's eyes. Hurt, betrayal, and confusion swirled together. "Lisa, I thought you knew. I thought you understood what this place meant to us both. I loved your father, and I wanted to keep our family secure." "But you're just trying to control my life. How could you do this to me?" he shouted, his voice trembling with emotion. "No, I'm not trying to control anything," Julia countered, her voice growing steadier as she felt the fire within her. "I'm trying to protect what's ours. This is our family, not just a property." Lisa took a step back, his fists clenched at his sides. The distant sound of traffic faded into a dull roar as the reality of Julia's words began to sink in. "You've always been in Dad's shadow. This is your chance to step out of it." Julia shook her head, a mixture of sadness and determination flooding through her. "It's not about stepping out of a shadow, Lisa. It's about claiming my place in the light. I want you to have your future, but it can't be built on lies." The room grew quiet, the storm outside echoing the turmoil inside. Julia could see that Lisa was processing, grappling with the truth she had laid bare. "I can't believe this," he finally whispered, his voice breaking. "You don't have to believe it yet, but you need to hear me. This house is a part of our story, and I won't let it be taken away without a fight." The thunder rumbled outside, and Julia felt a surge of strength flow through her. That moment in the living room changed everything. Lisa looked down at the floor, his expression shifting from anger to something softer, a vulnerability she hadn't seen before. "What do we do now, Mom?" Julia stepped closer, placing her hand on his shoulder. We face this together. I want to help you build your future, but it has to be with honesty and respect for our past." Tears filled Lisa's eyes, and for a moment the anger melted away. "I'm sorry, Mom. I didn't know." Julia felt her own heart swell with compassion. "I know, sweetheart. We'll figure this out, I promise, but you have to trust me." Just then, Tom appeared at the doorway, a concerned look on his face. "Is everything okay in here?" Julia nodded, her voice steadier now. "We're working through it. It's time for us to reclaim our home." Tom smiled, sensing the shift in the room. "That's the spirit. You've got this, Julia." As they stood there, Julia felt a new sense of clarity wash over her. She was not just a wife or a mother, she was a fierce protector of their family and their legacy. Together, they would navigate this storm and perhaps find a way back to each other in the process.
The sun dipped low in the sky, casting long shadows across the backyard. Julia sat on the porch, a steaming mug of fresh coffee cradled in her hands. The smell of fresh grass, cut just days before, lingered in the air, a bittersweet reminder of the life she had built here. Distant traffic hummed in the background, a soundtrack to her solitude, as she let her thoughts drift. It had been a few weeks since the will reading, a storm of emotions still swirling in her heart. She had given Lisa space, allowing him to come to terms with the truth about the house and their family dynamics. As she reflected on her relationship with her son, Julia couldn't help but wonder if he would ever understand the weight of the legacy they shared. "Oh my God," she whispered to herself, "I can't believe this is happening." Her heart sank at the thought of how easily Lisa had dismissed her, following Mark's example without a second thought. But now, as she took a sip of her coffee, she felt a shift within her. Time had allowed her to breathe, to remember the laughter that had once filled these walls. The memories of family dinners, of birthday parties in the backyard began to resurface. It was no longer just about ownership. It was about the essence of what made this house a home. Julia closed her eyes, letting the warmth of the sun wrap around her like a comforting embrace. Lisa had started visiting more often, tentatively at first, as if unsure of his place in this new reality. One afternoon, he joined her on the porch, the weight of the world evident in his posture. "Mom, I've been thinking," he began, his voice shaky, "about the house, about everything." Julia put her mug down and looked at him. "What's on your mind?" "I realized it's not just about who owns it. It's about the memories we made here. I don't want to lose that," he said, the sincerity in his eyes softening her heart. "Then let's hold on to those memories together, Lisa," Julia replied, feeling a flicker of hope. "This place has always been ours, and it will continue to be, no matter the name on the deed." Their conversation flowed, a tentative bridge being built between them. They shared stories about Mark, laughter mingled with tears, and for the first time since his death, Julia felt a sense of connection with her son. Cultural reflection. In the backyard, it hurt like hope. As the weeks turned into months, Julia found herself stepping out of the shadows of her past. She began volunteering at a local community center, sharing her story with other women who had faced similar struggles. With every interaction, she felt herself grow stronger, more independent. She was no longer just Mark's wife. She was Julia, a woman with her own voice. One sunny Saturday, Tom visited, bringing along a picnic basket filled with their favorite snacks. As they spread out the blanket in the backyard, he smiled at her. "You're glowing, Julia. What's your secret?" "I think I finally found my own light," she replied, her heart lighter than it had been in years. "I'm honoring Mark's memory, but I'm also learning to live for myself." Tom nodded, his eyes filled with admiration. "That's powerful. You deserve every bit of happiness." The warmth of friendship wrapped around her like a soft blanket, and for the first time, Julia felt at peace. She could feel the echoes of laughter and love lingering in the air, as if Mark himself was watching over them. But just when she thought she had found her way, a surprising revelation came to light. While sorting through Mark's old belongings, Julia stumbled upon a journal hidden beneath a stack of papers. As she flipped through the pages, her breath caught in her throat. In his own handwriting, Mark had expressed his deep respect for her, acknowledging the sacrifices she had made for their family. He had even planned to transfer the house into her name as a gesture of gratitude. The tears streamed down her face, a mix of sorrow and joy.
Thought. The smell of fresh coffee brought painful memories. She had been so focused on the betrayal that she had overlooked the love that had also existed. The truth was layered, intricate, and more complex than she had ever imagined. With renewed strength, Julia decided to confront Lisa once more. "I want to share something with you," she said, her voice steady as they sat on the porch together. "Your father had plans to give me the house. He knew how much I put into our family." Lisa's eyes widened in disbelief, the truth hitting him like a freight train. "I had no idea. He never told me." "Sometimes people keep their feelings buried," Julia replied softly. "But it doesn't mean they don't care. We need to honor both his memory and our own." As the sun set, casting a golden hue over the backyard, Julia felt the promise of a new beginning. She was no longer a shadow of her former self. She was a woman stepping into her own light.
Preserve the original language that honored the past while embracing the future. My son kicked me out of the house after my husband's death without knowing that I was the real owner. And you, on your porch, what truths do you hold that remain unspoken? Julia smiled for the first time in days. Everything will be okay. Mark nodded. You're stronger than you know.